So, Rob, I think we predicted the future. In our last episode, we talked about gear use and we named a few people. And I think, if I remember correctly, we brought up Liver King and our thoughts on whether the guy was natural. And now we know we were right. The worst surprise since The Sixth Sense. What is your take on Liver King being exposed?
So, how's the world going to cope with this revelation about this cultural icon? I think it's paramount to when Freddie Mercury came out, or when Biden revealed that he'd got dementia. I think it's a big moment in history. A big moment in history that people are going to need therapy for this, because it's going to be such a shock to a lot of people. But my God, it was only a matter of time, because in this digital era, there's only so many things you can keep secret for long. And all it took was, I don't know, I haven't watched the full video, but I assume this is just someone who, I don't know, just out for their own personal gain, has the information. So I was like, fuck it, why not? Let's put it out there.
Yeah, more plates, more dates, stick it in his inbox, of all people. I think no one was surprised. Well, no one should be surprised that he was taking anabolics. I'm sure there's one or two people that think, he did this all through raw liver and sunlight. But I think the big thing is the sheer volume. Like, it wasn't just a little bit of a lie. It was a full-on fucking cover-up. Like $15,000 US a month of gear and peptides.
I would never have guessed that list. And half of it I had to Google, which confused me and educated me even more. I didn't think there was any need to take 3 types of growth hormone.
I didn't realise there was multiple types of growth hormone.
But to be taking growth hormone and to be taking peptides and SARMs and pro-hormones and then testosterone on top as well has blown my mind. I didn't think that would be the case for any bodybuilder. I didn't think the top bodybuilders were on that amount of stuff. So, fair play to the geezer. He's determined. He went all out. I think it was something like, what was the shit he said? That he could be a hyper non-responder if he takes a fuckload of other stuff. It's like, man, he's gone for it. He meant it when he said a fuckload.
I heard somewhere in the emails, from what I heard as well, that he mentioned about, I want to get to X amount of followers, which almost makes it a little bit worse, doesn't it? Because it's not just like, I'm taking this because I want to be the biggest dude in the world. Yeah. It's, I'm taking this because I want to sway public opinion.
Exactly. And he's got his ancestral tenets, which we've discussed before. He's got his own supplement brand, all this stuff which could have been promoted any other way. There's supplement brands that are doing 20 million times better than he is that don't need to resort to that sort of tactic. But obviously in this, new attention-focused era, it did the exact trick. This giant geezer whose videos are going to be shared because of his physique and because he's out in the woods doing, primal exercises, we'll call it, which a lot of people still do and have done before him. Kettlebells in the woods, cool, love it, whatever floats your boat. Walking with chains, excellent, you look amazing. But
walking down Oxford Street with no shirt, no shoes.
It then becomes this character that he can't drop, because as soon as you drop it, sales go down, audience goes down, all these things. I don't know if this all. I know some people have come out with their hot takes on the topic, saying the end of Liver King and things like that. I think it will be, because I think there's 3 people that helped popularise the Liver King, mainly other PTs that were busy calling him out and saying he's definitely on steroids and arguing that this isn't going to work. I don't just mean PTs, I mean the fitness industry. There'll be the other side of gym bros who 100% know that he's on steroids, of course, and they're on steroids themselves, but just kind of got suckered into this ancestral way of living, and raw meat just makes you seem like a warrior. And those people are always going to be sold by that stuff anyway, but they're all on gear anyway. And then there's the natural people, maybe not even gym goers, who are just so fascinated by this sudden cultural icon that they share this stuff without necessarily ever buying into it. And I think as long as he keeps up the crazy fucking workout vids and eating these giant bull livers and stuff like that, I don't see why many people will turn off what he's doing anyway. Some people are still going to share it, constantly shouting roids underneath. Has he come out with has he said anything? Has there been any response?
Not that I've seen. I saw Jim Fail Instagram account, right? They posted like, it was just a random Liver King video, like nothing about the controversy. And it was just him like doing an overhead shoulder press. He shouts, more, and he had a plate, and more, and he had to play. It's like, yes, the 7 odd plates, right? And I was like, I came for the aggressive warrior pressing, but I stayed for the comment section. Every single one was a joke about gear underneath. That's every amazing. One without fail. Yeah. It shows a lot about the culture of us as human beings, how we like, and I'm in a way, and I'm in a way, probably, I like to say that it's because of morals and selling to people. And to a degree it is. But I do think there's a part of all of us where we see someone successful fall and it's exciting to jump on it. Like if this was a person that was just selling a few online programs, would we give a shit? We're seeing someone from the top fall, and it shows how cutthroat. I think it shows as much about the bad side of human nature, the response to this, as it does about the bad side of Liver King.
Yeah, 100%. There's always two sides to it, right? We can call him out because I don't know. Did he actually ever claim he was natural, or did he just always dodge the question? So he claimed a lot. So cool. So we've got it. We've got him there. It's such a stupid thing to say, but and that's why everyone indulges in this stuff, because everyone wants to have that gotcha moment. We want to do it with politicians, with celebrities. We want to do it with our own mates as well. So we're addicted to that for some weird reason. But obviously, if he's claimed that he's natural, then he has lied. Now, several reasons for that. He is in America, where the possession, I believe, is illegal. So from that standpoint, he's got to lie about it anyway. That kind of makes sense.
That's a fair point.
But obviously, at the same time, he's promoting a way of living and a supplement company that he is now claiming has got him the shape that he's in, right? Which obviously we know is complete crap.
Yeah.
And we've been through the tenets, and there's some merit to some of them, and there's not a lot of merit to a lot of them as well. But in terms of us, if he had all these videos shared about him, his training in the woods, eating his giant bull livers, with nothing ever to promote, would we care as much? Probably not. We probably wouldn't. If his name on
would you care?
If his name on TikTok had just been Brian Johnson, which I think is what it is, the same as the AC/DC singer, I think that's what I'm remembering. Would I have cared? No, because it would have been just another geezer, larger than me, training with some kettlebells and chains in the woods. Probably wouldn't care as much. I wouldn't care as much. But it wasn't. It was the Liver King. To be fair, it's still an accurate name. How his liver has handled half of those fucking roids that have gone through his system, we'll never know. But maybe half of the bull livers that we see him are actually being transplanted into his body rather than his eating them. But his downfall now is where everyone else will show their ugly side. How many people have done their rebuttal video or their gotcha video starting off with, I knew it, I fucking told you. Yeah, but why are you acting like you're the authority on this when everyone knew it anyway? Everyone knew it. The only people who wouldn't have known are people who don't understand steroid cycles and how that can affect your physique, and they just wouldn't know that anyway. But I don't think those people were buying off him. Honestly, don't. So now we are going to see the uglier side. And because now we've got one, we've caught that one, there's going to be a certain quota of the fitness industry that wants to go, right, who's next? Who should we go for next? And this leads to wild claims with zero evidence. But already I've seen a couple of TikTok vids of other fake natties, and a couple of them I'm looking at going, I don't think they are. I think you're just on this witch hunt now. When we also need to look at the people doing the witch hunt.
Let's see who else we can get.
Exactly. And we see this all the time. We see this in politics. We see this happening with celebrities. We see this in the conspiracy world as well. It's all over the fucking place. Why we do this? It's a weird part of human nature.
When Epstein got done, right? Like everyone, it was the royal family, it was TV, it was everything. It's like you've got no evidence here except that these people are also famous.
Yeah,
that's all you've got. But I also think when it comes to the worst side of human nature, do you think there's an element of, and this I suppose is the this girl deserve it because of what she wore argument. But do you think that we create this? We create the pressure for an insecure man that has openly said how much he got bullied as a child to feel like he needs to take gear. Because what's the name of the guy who also does all the carnivore videos? He just says like, kale is bullshit. Coffee is everything's bullshit.
Oh, who's the kale bullshit? Yeah.
But
yeah,
you know the guy, right? Like, we don't talk about him ever. Why? Because he's smaller.
Yeah.
And so we've created a standard that people now have to live up to work around the algorithm. We look at the people that are the big influencers here, and I'm not calling out these people for being potentially on gear or not on gear, but the Matt Does Fitnesses, the More Plates, More Dates, Mike Thurston's, these people out there with huge followings, they've got followings because they look great year round.
Sure.
Whether it's genetics, whether it's assistance, whether it's hard work, or a mixture of the above, I don't give a shit. But do you think we're kind of to blame for not his choices, but the pressure that he felt to do those choices?
The industry itself, and I don't just limit it to the fitness industry, but how the fitness industry hooks in with Hollywood culture, with magazine culture, with media, we've definitely perpetuated this cycle where I agree you can't always judge a good coach PT on their physique alone. You can't. But there is also something slightly worrying about a PT that's never been in shape, which also then puts the pressure on that person to, well, shit, I need to be in the best shape I can quickly to get more business in. People aren't going to respect me. That suddenly it puts pressure on, and when we're under pressure, we want to go with the fastest option. We want to go with speed. Then we look at other potential fake natties online who seem to be lean all year round, which is questionable because that is tough. That is very, very tough to do. So, or suddenly they appear bigger in a video and we never saw them go through a bulking cycle where their abs disappeared a little bit or anything like that. And so you look to those people going, well, if they're lean all year round, I need to do what they're doing to be lean all year round. You soon discover you can't do that, but you suddenly start ending up in the other circles where you find out how you can do that, such as low. I learned a new term recently, shadow pinning. So it's low, well, not low doses, not TRT dose, but like the lowest possible dose that you could to elicit some sort of super physiological change, without it being a dose that's going to add like 20 pounds of muscle in 6 weeks or anything like that. And it's constantly on and off. So the side effects are a hell of a lot lower. So we're not seeing these guys with, distended stomachs or crazy acne or anything like that. Hair stays the same. Mood kind of stays the same. They do the right procedures afterwards as well. And then they go back on the low dose, and that's a constant lifelong thing that allows them to stay lean all year round and still have the energy for their training vids and still gaining strength, things like that. But it's difficult without evidence to say exactly who those people are. I have a few ideas in my head, but I can't claim anything for certain.
And I think people get deluded of what the term natural actually is. I know a lot of people, I'm not going to call them out because some of them are friends and mentors, and people we both know, who will go, if I could be like 96 natural, then that's my goal. And I'm like, when you say natural, you mean low dose testosterone, right? So you mean not natural. Yeah. You just don't mean throwing it all in. Yeah. You're not meaning 15 grand US. Yeah. Of gear, And I'm like, this is what the fitness industry does to people, right? Like I think everybody's got their own insecurities. Everyone comes into the fitness industry with a level of insecurity, but I think as it goes, I think both of us are pretty, relatively self-assured, are comfortable in our own skin. We got more to our identity, but I've definitely felt it. I've definitely felt the need to be bigger, especially going into the coach mentoring world. Like people are bigger than me. Yeah. And like, do you feel it? Because if we are feeling it and we've not gone through maybe the childhood that the Liver King went through, then can we really blame him for feeling the pressure?
Of course not. I think I can't say I had the same childhood that Liver King had. And obviously it's a very, very different culturally as well. Like in British schools, there isn't this jock culture of maybe the bullies were the football team or the wrestling team or something like that, where you're then looking at these guys who are bigger, stronger, more muscular, as the ones that are bullying you. That didn't happen in my school. The bullies were the fat kids in my school, and I wasn't getting bullied because I was one of the sporty ones. Yeah, man. If I think back to the bullies, they were all podgy, round-jawed, which speaks volumes. I was just doing my thing, mucking around with my mates.
It's the older generation, isn't it? Now you're 40.
It's crazy, man. Whereas I was, I got bullied, not to the extent of Liver King. Nowhere near the extent of Liver King. Probably. I just mucked around with my mates. I was friends with most of the social circles, and I was sporty as well. I was a sprinter. My voice broke before anyone else. I had a moustache before anyone else. I listened to heavy metal music, and that's about it. I did not have the same. I just kind of got by, There was bullying. Did I bully? Yeah, maybe. Probably did. But in terms of when you look at bullying, the extent of what happens in American schools, Jesus, it's almost like street violence. It's almost like gang violence, really, almost gang culture. Yeah. So 100%, that's going to make him feel, in an age where his brain's developing, what is he learning? He's learning he's not enough. He's not enough because he's getting bullied. So what can you do to be accepted, to be part of the tribe, part of the culture? You do more, which very much reflects in that language that we've seen in that email of, I'm wondering if I take a fuckload, I want to have this many followers. That's quite an aggressive email that he's asking for advice at the end of the day. It's odd. And we see this in his interviews as well. He's very, pushes back a lot, instantly pushes back. So you can see that defense mechanism is up straight away. And that's come from his childhood, from that culture that he's experienced. Yeah. Which has shaped his decision making. It just shapes your brain. If that's happening to you as a kid, that's how your brain's going to form later in life. It just is.
And this is the thing. This is where I don't know where I stand on the story entirely. There are things I agree with, things I disagree with, but I can kind of relate to the Liver King. I'm using this podcast as my therapy sessions now. You're my unofficial therapist, but I was very heavily bullied as a kid, and I know that has impacted me as an adult. It was recently because I work with a lot of really good bodybuilders. I've got two of my colleagues. They've just come back from competing at the Olympia stage. Very, very good. So I'm working with some of the people that are that love training more than anyone I've ever known love training.
Yeah. And
I sat there and I look at these people and go, do you know what? I love my training. I don't love it anywhere near as much as these guys. And I start to piece. Recently, I came to this conclusion. I started to piece together that a lot of why I got into the gym, a lot of why I got into education, a lot of ways I originally wanted to do mentoring stuff because of going to a Phil Learney seminar and just seeing him have an audience. And my training was Triple H, captivating an audience.
Sweet.
So I think a lot of my decisions in life was based around wanting to be heard, wanting to prove myself. And part of the reason why I don't shut off very easily. So I can kind of understand. I understand the pressure to be a certain way.
Yeah.
But the question is, now, does that give him the right to sell off the back of it?
No.
However, but the caveat I have is he doesn't say you could look like him if you take raw liver. He always says, I'm not saying, and quite like I said to you, I'm not saying you would look like me.
Right.
But you can look better. So are we, does that make it yes, he is building a body and insinuating that you could have my body, but he's outright not saying it.
It
so does it matter if he's lying? He's generally... Yeah, because he's lying. He might be lying to himself and his audience, but he's not lying about what the results of the product. He's not false advertising. He's not offering a Harrier jet. By the way, you should watch the documentary. It's amazing. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, it's such a sketchy one because obviously he is selling things based on the back of this lifestyle that he says that he's got, and if he has been completely claiming that he's natural, and now we know that's not the case, but if he's not using the language of if you do this you'll look like me, then okay, that's almost like a green tick. That's a good thing that he's not saying that. But just through the marketing alone
yeah, but it's any different to, let's say here, I'm going to use an example. The CEO of Redcon, right? Open about gear use, right? His products sell very, very well. His products are very, very good as well, I might add. Better than liver capsules, I'll tell you that right now. But does it affect his sales? No, because he's very open.
No,
now, the thing here, if Liver King, yes, he's lied about his gear use, but he's also never claimed that people doing his ancestral tenets would look like him. Is he that different? Because he's not lied about his product.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. To be fair, like, what would add, well, I say this would add credence, but it wouldn't, because these could be faked as well. But if he had like a long list of results, client testimonials that have followed his tenets, reviews of his supplements, things like that. But he hasn't. No one had heard of his company. No one had probably bought from his company until he became huge online.
Yes.
So there's nothing to say that he was helping anyone before, and his aggressive drive for 1 million followers at whatever point it was shows what his incentives were. Wanted to be famous, wanted to be rich, wanted to, be known. All the things that he probably didn't get from when he was a kid, being bullied, which in a way is understandable. But is he actually helping people? That's the question, really. Because we shouldn't judge if someone wants to go on steroids or not, because that's their choice. And there's reasons for making it public, and there's reasons for not making it public. That's separate to, is he trying to scam people to make money, and he's just going to pretend he's natural and sell these things that don't necessarily work? Take the steroids out of the equation. How many people is he actually helping on a educational versus entertainment based ratio? I don't think he's helping many people apart from entertaining them, really. I don't see.
But to play devil's advocate there, he might not be educating those people. But sometimes entertainment is the best form of self-development.
Sure.
Because I can give you every reason in the world to eat cooked liver. I ain't doing this raw shit. And I can give you all the education in the world. I can give you all of this. Are you going to buy from me? No. You're going to buy from him? Now, let's put this physique aside for a second, because obviously that does sway things. We spoke about that already, though. Like, if he's entertaining, he could get somebody started getting outside more, getting into a community, lifting weights, doing some cardio. And he might not look like the Liver King, but I tell you what, if they're 10 kilos down, they're in a healthier, happier position. And are we now saying that shouldn't have been done? Like, I think he's helped a lot of people.
Maybe. And yes, of course, in terms of helping people, entertainment can be part of that. We know there's multiple ways of persuading people towards getting them to do what we want them to do beyond just, you should be eating this and you should be eating that. It's you look at this geezer that he's absolutely jacked with a very, intriguing looking body on him that you kind of want to see more of, doing these crazy exercises most people haven't seen before, doing something that does kind of appeal to this primal nature that a lot of men have in us, who would prefer to be doing that sort of thing rather than an air-conditioned, neon-lit pure gym or anything like that, There is something that feels a bit better about doing those sort of workouts for a certain percentage of the population. But in terms of how is he helping people, well, the product that he's putting out there is supplements, right? Is supplements, recipe guides and ebooks to things that he's maybe not been eating his entire life, and certainly isn't going to help the majority of the population. If the world suddenly starts eating nothing but raw beef liver, we're not necessarily going to get this intensely healthier population that certain people might think they're going to get. We don't get this with raw vegan, we don't get this with carnivore, we don't get this with raw carnivore, we don't get this with all these crazy flipping essentially fad diets that are creeping out now.
Is it more nutrient dense than the typical processed Western diet? Because we speak in optimal, and I'm as guilty of it as you are, right? But we speak in optimal. We speak in, well, this isn't the best diet, but is it a better diet? Is it getting people on the road? Like when I was a new PT, I used to trash Zumba. What the fuck are you doing Zumba for? Zumba's shit. You're not going to get shredded doing Zumba. Yes, but Zumba gets you off the fucking sofa, loses 3 pounds, and then maybe you do carnivore and you get this protein intake up and you get some more nutritious choices of meats in your system, and then realize you're hungry as fuck. So you add in some vegetables, and you add in some carbohydrates, and like I think people are too quick to bash corners of the extremes of the internet because people are just so polarizing and aggressive, and forgetting that there is a place for them.
Yeah, sure.
Carnivore for autoimmune conditions. Look at the Petersons, for example.
Yeah, but then also you've got to look at overall enjoyment. You've got to look at overall performance. So, okay, Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson, big proponents of the carnivore diet done the correct way, let's call it. And we can talk about all the illnesses that Kayla Peterson had that she now hasn't got, or reduced symptoms of, things like that. But that's not the majority of the population. And they're certainly not elite level athletes or even weekend athletes or anything like that. It's Michaela Peterson and Jordan Peterson. So the balance that needs to be got in for overall enjoyment, because, okay, liver might be more nutrient dense for most people to be eating, but it tastes like shit. Let's not forget that. So suddenly we want to do ya. I think it tastes like shit, bro.
But raw, 100% tastes like shit.
Of course, it's going to be raw. So you could have that alongside a balanced, skeptical term, balanced but nutrient dense diet that hits all the things that you need for the most enjoyable, illness-free, performance-based life that you possibly could. I always was fascinated by watching Umar Malik, shout out Umar Malik eat, because the geezer was the first geezer I saw eating. He's the original liver king. He's the original primate, Umar. He's the first person I saw eating large portions of liver throughout the day. I'd never thought I'd see anyone eat that amount. I thought it was like a little thing that you just have on the side or as a starter or something like that. This geezer was chugging down lunch boxes full of it, And it just kind of made me think, okay, there's obviously a ton of nutrition in there. He's treating that as his protein source for that meal. But again, we've then got to add up, what's your goal? Why are you choosing liver over chicken breast when there's probably more chicken? I don't know exactly, but there's probably more protein per pound of chicken breast than there is per liver. But yes, you're going to get a ton of extra stuff on top, and it's maybe lower calorie with the liver. A lot of people are a bit depleted in B vitamins. The liver's going to help you out there a lot. Yeah.
Before you just go into that, though, I talk about the original Liver King. I work with a guy. I worked with him at UP in Hong Kong, and then he's now a freelancer where we work. A guy called Justin Sui. I'm going to butcher that. Sorry to every person who has that surname here in Asia. But I used to play a game with him. I still do it now every now and again, where it's what part of the animal is in your lunchbox today. You never knew. It was never breast meat. Yeah. One day it was an intestine. Next day it was a bollock. You have no idea what he's eating. So one day it's chicken. If it was chicken breast, it came shrink wrapped in a bag from 7-Eleven. Weird.
That's amazing. Wow. I mean, and again, you've got, for the general population, it doesn't need to be an extreme method. And following the Liver King's protocols is an extreme method. It's a next level extreme method if you want to go down the raw route. So yes, you can. Organ meat is wildly undereaten and highly nutrient dense as well. But it doesn't mean that has to be all you eat. Likewise, if you want to lose weight the fastest way possible, then just have, plain cod and green beans, 5-6 meals a day. You're going to be bored as hell. And there's only a certain percentage of people that are going to be able to do that. So why would you try to do that if you're not in that percentage? The urge to have a new guru to follow. Like once Liver King does disappear, someone will come next. Who's next? We don't know. Just before Liver King, V-Shred seemed to be all over the place. Who knows what's going to come after Liver King? But I don't think it's going to be some sensible, clear-cut, making sense type PT or coach. It's going to be something sensational because people want to see sensational.
We said before, sensational headlines like conspiracies make headlines, right? People don't see the extremes. But if you want to look at somebody who is basically, I just thought the Liver King done right, how it should have been done. is Stan Efferding.
Yeah.
Vertical diet,
Great
very
shout.
close, really.
Great
very
shout.
close.
Yeah.
Big monster, very clever, and and open about his use. So there's never going to be I don't know, maybe there are skeletons in his closet, but there's certainly no skeleton in his closet as regards to his training and nutrition philosophies.
Yeah.
Nothing affects his business. As far as I'm aware, Stan Efferding does very well for himself. And rightly so, because Stan Efferding's great.
Yeah.
But that's what he could become. So, what think's happening next?
What for?
Liver King.
For our friend Mr. Johnson. Well, first we've got to see what he comes back with, because it's alien.
I think he'll ignore it.
It's a leaked email.
Wait for it to blow over.
He has the option to say, "That's not me. I never sent that. This is a hit job," and he'll create two crowds, one that are behind him, one that's not. But like I said, I don't think it will be the end, because he's going to become a lot more popular, and we're part of this as well. A lot more popular because more people are going to talk about him now. So now there's more incentive for the media to talk about him that they didn't have before, because now they've got their gotcha moment that they want to press him on, and they want to get that response, and they want their sound bites and all these things. So we saw this with Tate. If people really, really wanted to cancel Tate, then media agencies wouldn't have reached out to him. Because if you want to really shut that geezer down, you shut him down. We saw this more with Alex Jones. No media outlets were rushing to interview Alex Jones, because they really wanted him cancelled and silenced. And for the sad thing is, they just do the opposite thing, because people end up talking about it. So we'll see him get a lot more popular in the very, very near future, but not necessarily interviewed and given a chance to tell his side of the story, because he could just cut that down in one sentence. That's not me. This is a hit job.
I want him to go on Piers Morgan.
Oh, you never know.
He's asking for it, right?
Know.
Everyone has a scandal, gets on it somehow, right? And I can kind of see it happening. I really can. But I think this is going to go one of two ways, and I have a way that I think it's going to go. I'll say the way I don't think it's going to go first.
Yeah.
Because of his issues with insecurities, with bullying, he could vanish. Because he's got a lot of money. Yeah. He lives in the woods, and he just doesn't like the hate. He hates public stuff anyway, despite his personality, right? He hates it too much. He disappears completely. What I think will happen, there's going to be no response. He's just going to keep doing his videos of him spearing a tree and having a kettlebell race with a train on his neck and eating or whatever. And he's just going to wait for it to blow over. Yeah. Because it will. Yeah. And he will then just slowly become the next Rich Piana, but unopen about gear use. Just never mention it again. Yeah. Keep his followers. People will still buy supplements. New people will follow him, never even have heard this story, and the cycle will repeat. He's probably getting hundreds of thousands of followers a day. Yeah, exactly. I don't know who this is, what this soy is.
He's certainly not going to lose any money over this, because he's not sponsored by any companies. No one's really involved with him. He's got his own line of stuff, and he could start, he could rebrand. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he needs to, and still keep selling those things,
And he's got other businesses.
And he's got other businesses.
He doesn't need to make money. It's not all fitness.
It's a smart guy.
Really smart guy, yeah.
So no one actually has to worry about Liver King. But we also do have to worry about the effect these public witch hunts do have on people. What if people are going to start really calling him out on videos and wanting him on, TV programs and interviews and things like that, and the pressure gets too much, and Geezer tops himself, which I hope he doesn't. I don't think it's going to go that way, and I hope he doesn't. Who's gonna stand up and apologise? No one. No one's going to. Suddenly, everyone's tune will change and be like, "Oh yeah, I've said about these witch hunts all the time. It's bad." But if you're a part of it, you're kind of complicit in a way.
How many of the people that are doing the witch hunt now are also going to be the people in the comment section of a smaller personal trainer saying they need to get bigger? He's never lifted in his life, And I'm not saying there isn't validity in both sides of this. If we see a personal trainer that's never looked like they've lifted a weight in their entire life, there is a problem. In the same way that people lying to sell supplements is also a problem. Yeah. But if you're sitting there going, oh, it's gear, and then calling out the small personal trainer that's working fucking hard, you're part of the fucking problem, in my opinion, because this is why people make these decisions.
Yeah.
And uninformed as well, because the people that make gear choices because they've not reached the jet pen, I hate saying that because no one knows where it is, but the people that make gear choices based off the fact that they want to take the training further have been informed. The people that take it based off peer pressure is often, it's an email going, I want this many followers, how much gear can I get?
Yeah.
And that's where people's health can be more sacrificed.
Yeah. And we're also going to, I mean, thank God someone with his head screwed on, like, more plates, more dates, is the person revealing this. And yes, it was sent to him, obviously, but he's done a very, I'm assuming, accurate description of what everything is. And it's not like, if it had just been leaked and that was it, how many people would look at that as a recommendation of what they need to go on now to look like him, which is going to cause a million fucking issues if people do. Because I think I've just got it up now. One of the biggest sentence for me that should put anyone off even thinking about that is he says, I've been working out for 35 years. That's the biggest thing out of this. Like someone who's just got a few years in them that suddenly wants to start taking this cycle. My God, that's probably a heart attack or liver failure waiting to happen, no matter how much ancestral supplements you take on top.
But is your liver going to fail if you're eating all the liver? Like, didn't Liver King say if you're eating an organ, it's going to help that organ? So maybe that's why he's taking all the liver, because he's destroying his liver with all the peptides.
Yeah. Maybe that actually is. Maybe that is it. That's why he's got to be on 3 different things. Maybe. Because I don't, he's not like pro bodybuilder size, as far as I can tell. I mean, he's still monstrous, but he's not pro bodybuilder size. So maybe a lot of the things he's taking is to undo some of the damage from the things that he's also taking, so he can stay on them year round for longer. I don't know. It's all a bit above. I had to Google what half of the things were, which was a mind blower for a lot of things.
We were saying last week, right? We've been in the environment around. Yeah. I neither of us claim to be an expert in anabolic steroid use, right? We know a bit. We can hold a conversation from the people we've been around, and I didn't. There's quite a lot of the stuff I didn't know.
Yeah, I had no idea that someone would be on 3 different types of growth hormone. I had no idea someone would be taking SARMs and peptides and pro-hormones on top of the steroids that they're taking as well. I didn't see the need why someone would do both, let alone all 3 things. But that's just the list of the anabolic stuff he's taking. He must be taking so much more on top of that for the health reasons and to combat some of these side effects. And it just obviously goes way, way, way beyond me, and we're never going to see that side of the story either.
Yeah. Fun fact, slight tangent, but just as we were talking about compounds and drugs, I found a new popular drug today, apparently. Cough syrup mixed with Sprite. Apparently gets you really high. Never knew. Going to try this. I want to see what this is like.
This sounds like the thing that went around in school, the anarchist cookbook, that showed you how to make explosive out of kitchen items, and apparently you could get high off of banana skin or something like that. But give it a go. It's too harmless ingredients that you've got to lose.
I don't know. Depending on how much cough syrup you take. But I think I'm going to end up like Neil from The Inbetweeners when he takes like Ribena and cough syrup, right?
That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to turn into.
It's going to be that. I'm dribbling away. But like,
oh, God.
Go back to Liver King. If he's lied about this, what else do you think he's lied about?
That's the issue then,
Dextrose was the thing that came up as well. He drinks a lot of dextrose.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Which like, again, it's the thing. No one gives a shit if you drink dextrose. But the fact you, like, again, it's just like, no one would have cared if you said it in the first place.
Yeah.
But although I do think, when, like, you watch something and you like, and you remember it differently than it was, or you've done something, you remember it to be harder than it was. Like there's just sort of this the way your brain picks up bits of information. Because he preaches liver, everyone thinks he's promoting carnivore diet, right? Have you ever watched any of the videos of him chef cooking food?
No.
He's not totally carnivore.
Really?
I think we've put that together in our brains that he's totally carnivore.
Yeah.
He is fairly carnivore, right? But he's never gone, I hate vegetables, you shouldn't have them. He's not like kale is bullshit. He eats a lot of red meat and organ meat because it's healthy. But I can't remember what it was, but there's carbs in his meal. So I think sometimes we create anger on him based off what we've perceived or what we like what our brains picked up. He eats liver, he must be carnivore.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he is.
So, I mean, there's old, I want to say Bear Grylls, maybe not Bear Grylls, but there's old stories about him doing these long wilderness treks and things like that. And the cameras are off and suddenly they're eating. And, well, they're not necessarily saying that you could survive and live like this. They're making a TV show for entertainment. And this is where we blur the line. With too much TV and too much social media, we forget what reality actually is. Of course he's fucking doing stuff like behind the scenes. Of course.
Yeah, I also think I had this exact conversation about Bear Grylls. Literally, it's weird you said this because my client brought up that exact thing. And he was saying on the cameras, we went to the Four Seasons and had a hotel. And I'm like, at no point in Bear Grylls did I give a shit where he stayed the night. Like, I didn't want the guy to suffer for our entertainment. Bear Grylls has been in the SAS. He's slept in a few jungles. I don't at any point do I watch Bear Grylls and go, don't think he can hack it. Don't think he can sleep in a jungle. He's done his stint. Like, dude, like, I trust you. I trust it. You can stay in whatever hotel you like when the cameras come on. It's a fucking TV show. You know?
Yeah. But again, that line's just going to get more and more distorted. The further we go, if people can be suckered in by someone like Liver King, or even to an extent other influencers who might not be as obviously on steroids, but are promoting their program and their way of living, and people being suckered into it. The mix that with the sheer level of attention that you can get through these bigger production style things, whatever's coming next is probably going to end up bigger and maybe even more ludicrous than the Liver King. We know it's a ludicrous notion to think that this guy got in that size by eating raw liver and training in the outdoors in his pajamas and shit like that. We know that, but not everyone knows that. But for the next thing is just going to be bigger, because the next thing has to be more ridiculous to get the level of attention that someone like Liver King got, which worries me greatly. I also think, as I was saying, like, we make stories more extreme than they actually are in our heads. Yeah. And like for sake of argument, I don't think Liver King's actually carnivore, and I don't think in these videos that he ever says that he is. No. He never said that you could look like me if you eat raw liver. Like, we've made these stories up that have condemned him. Now, has he alluded to it? Damn fucking right. Yeah. But we go back to Andrew Tate. When we spoke about Liver King the first time on the show, we spoke about Andrew Tate, right? And Andrew Tate. Now, is Andrew Tate a misogynist? Maybe. Some of the things he said are definitely misogynistic. But people hear sound bites out of context. Yeah. And now have taken this and gone, he is a misogynist. Where we've kind of filled in blanks that were left blank to come to that conclusion. Yeah. And I think this is the same thing to agree with the Liver King. I'm playing devil's advocate a lot and make it sound like I'm defending him. But I do think, we have the people are on a witch hunt, and people are finding, like, they're drawing lines between blanks that they can't be bothered to go and find out if actually are true. Yeah. It's a soundbite culture, in many areas, and so many people would like to think they're not that person, but we all are to a degree. We all are, and we just help perpetuate the cycle as well. It's so easy to put ourselves up here and go, well, I'm the one not sharing Liver King videos, but here I am talking about him. It's all part of the same thing. Mm-hmm. So that's what we do have to watch. That unless there's direct benefit to us putting these things out there, which we've always come at it from, let's talk about him, let's see what might be going on behind the scenes, let's not make wild claims without evidence, and let's dissect what he's actually saying and see if that is relevant for the general population. But some people will just come out there completely supporting him, some people will just come out there completely trashing the guy with no real benefit to the message that they're putting out either. It's this, which you gotta watch what information you let into your life and what information you unknowingly promote through even through shouting the opposite about it. You know?
Do you think insecurity in the fitness industry is an inherently terrible thing? Because on one end, we have people, and then this is the big thing now, where people are pushed to what people are calling unhealthy standards of body image, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about that. But no one really talks about the fact that it is a level of insecurity that gets people moving in a direction.
Yeah.
So is there a place for insecurity? And if so, have we gone too far?
We definitely promote it. We definitely create it. But I don't think that means the industry needs a radical overhaul or anything like that. If you remember the old, who was it? Jim, I forget the name. Protein World. I forget the name of the company.
Beach Body Ready. It's Protein World.
Beach Body Ready.
Beach Body Ready, right?
Protein World. That was it. In a way, a bit of a harmless ad, but also not as well. But I would rather see adverts like that than obese models on the cover of a magazine with the magazine saying this is health, which we know it's not. That's as bad. That's just as bad as the lip key. Just promoting an unhealthy lifestyle.
I think I'm going to maybe ruffle some feathers here.
Go on.
I think
there's
nothing wrong with the Beach Body Ready ad whatsoever. I think that marketing has been promoting people that are in shape for many years. I don't think the woman on the cover of that advert was an unhealthy, unattainable physique. She wasn't shredded. She was just a woman in relatively good shape on the beach, right? I think that most people want to improve the way they look on the beach. Believe me, you get it, we get it. So many people come in for that. There is a market for it to help people push to get better. I think that if we were saying, if that was a man with a shredded six-pack saying the same thing, there would be no complaints, no arguments, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I also think that a lot of it, the argument was, and this is my biggest problem with it, the argument was that people were saying that, well, why does that mean Beach Body Ready? Why can't I be Beach Body Ready and be bigger? Okay, that is cool. But if you were generally bigger and happy and confident and big and beautiful, cool, you do you, totally fine. But if that's generally true, you probably walked past the ad and didn't give a shit. Yeah. Because you're like, I don't give a fuck about protein powder, and walked right by it. The people that complain like, well, I'm happy at a bigger size. Well, the fact that you got triggered by this ad proves that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it wasn't that bad. It wasn't it wasn't someone with a gun up to a fat person's head going, this is wrong. It was just a person in shape. Why is her body so terrible?
Yeah.
It's offensive the other way, right? Yeah. They were slandering her.
And go back to insecurity. It creates the people complaining about it are the ones who are insecure about their own physique. Okay, so the ones that have been triggered, their own inadequacies have been triggered. And the problem with a lot of like the Liver King things that triggers the insecurities within the fitness industry of the people who don't look like that and whose business is not as big as that either. So that's why I was so quick to go, wait, you can't do that because I'm being honest and I'm being truthful and I'm talking about press ups and smoothie bowls, and I haven't got 1 million fucking followers on Instagram. So it does trigger an inadequacy there as well. So the industry is very insecure. Very insecure. And I say this from being at the well, maybe not the full original place for people to get into it, but from the PT qualifications up until however long I've been in the industry now, 12 years, maybe slightly longer, if you watch people, you notice a lot of insecurity in there. A lot of personal trainers that are constantly looking themselves in the mirror. A lot of trainers that are worried about their physique or cover their physique up maybe more than they should. Or are too quick to call out other people based on their physique being too good, etc. And it's a very, very insecure. It's a strange industry. I do think about it often compared to other industries. I wonder if the finance industry, sorry, is as insecure as this. I wonder if other coaching industries that help people out end up as insecure as this. It's an odd industry to be part of when it has the potential to do so much good.
Yeah. Do you think finance, because it's interesting you mentioned the finance industry. Do you think people in finance, because they have seen people that are really, really, really wealthy, do you think they become very insecure about how much money they have? Now, maybe, but I don't think to the level of fitness professionals do. I generally think sometimes that somebody who is in my shape, who looks like me right now, who isn't a personal trainer, will be considerably happier in that physique than I am in mine right now.
Yeah.
And I think the day I walked in, and this isn't a knock on them at all. The day I walked into an Ultimate Performance gym and saw the biggest dudes in the room, the most shredded dudes in the room. When I walked into UP, I had Justin McGuire with 120 kilos lean. I had Nick Daniel peeled to the gills, right? And that day was the day where all of a sudden that, other than being shredded, I would never be totally comfortable with my physique. And when I say shredded, I don't mean we've done this on the show. We look at people that are like, yeah, they're in all right shape. Hollywood stars. And these are the people like Daniel Craig. Everyone's like, oh my God, how good in shape Daniel Craig. I'm like, average, low rate and standard. Yeah. And that is such a warped image. And I think some of the personal trainers are the most insecure people on the planet.
Yeah, 100%.
And they covered up by trying to say, make it seem like, oh, well, this is where the sustainability bullshit's come from. Personal trainers that don't want to do it themselves anymore, but don't know how to market without their body.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like is when personal trainers try and combat this by going, it's okay, they're shredded, and I have rolls too, and they tangle into an awkward position so they can show a kind of skin roll, or I have cellulite, which is a stretch mark because you've got fucking jacked arms.
Yeah,
that does not help anybody. No, I don't think any client has ever looked at that and go, "Oh, it's okay because my favorite shredded influencer has rolls too." You aren't the same conversation.
Yeah. It's I don't want to hark on these people too much, but the male and the female side are as insecure as each other. They really, really are, and the female side promotes this healthier body image and not necessarily worrying about being shredded a little bit more than the males do for obvious biological reasons, for obvious health reasons. The bit that gets me is when it comes around to their time in a month, and obviously they'll be bloated and definition will disappear and they'll hold some water and things like that. But they post this as if this is me. Look at me normally. This is how you should be. You should be happy with yourself. And this is what the female figure looks like. As soon as they're off that, they're in the gym. They're in the gym. They're tensing their abs. They're lifting their top up. They're trying to look as shredded as they possibly can. But then it'll come back to that bit and they're like, oh, you've got to learn to love your body. This is how it is. And you can see, if you watch these people long enough, you can see the cycle. It's, well, which do you want to do? You're telling people to love themselves and to be happy with the way they are. But yet for 2 weeks in a month, you're in the gym trying to get as shredded as you possibly can. And you're talking about beast mode. And
I need 5 women who want to be shredded for the beach 1 week after saying you should be happy with your body softer.
Yeah.
Be consistent with your message, right? I got Callum from GraphFit on the show, and we talked about branding, and he didn't mention a color scheme. Yeah. He just talked about authenticity and consistency in your message. And I think people aren't consistent in their message because they are fueled by their own insecurities, and sometimes me too, right? And I think it's an industry thing that's way too common. But I don't think there's much you can do about it now, right?
No, not
too institutionalized.
Yeah, man. It's going to take a massive, complete overhaul of society to fix that. Not just the industry, which is not going to change. Societal standards are only going to get worse. The pressure is only going to get worse. The distractions are only going to get worse. Which is why I say whatever's coming next is going to be bigger, wilder, and maybe even tougher to control. Because now people are getting wise to how easy it is to have this stuff leaked about you. So they're going to go, well, I don't want anything leaked, so let's really dig into hiding the skeletons in the closet, you know?
So I'm going to give one more talking point to play devil's advocate to us, and then I'm going to ask you a closing question, because we were going to go on to centralized digital finance, but I think this topic has done us better than we thought. And teaser for next week, we're going to do centralized digital finance.
We'll get on that next week.
For those of you who listen every week to me and Rob chat, waiting for the day we speak conspiracies again, next week is going to be the day. But like with the playing devil's advocate with that, because there is somebody that I quite respect who did all of this. What should you give it? Is it Buttermore or Butterworth, Stephanie? Stephanie Buttermore?
I'm not sure. It's quick.
She did something called All In. She is who's the Buttermore? Stephanie Buttermore. She's going out with who's that guy she's going out with that's really famous in the fitness industry? YouTuber. Put Stephanie Buttermore boyfriend, and you will know who I'm talking about.
Right, he's on pinned post on Insta. Jeff Nippard.
Jeff Nippard's partner. Yeah, I like Jeff Nippard. I think he's really good. But like, yes, but she did a thing called All In because she was a physique competitor. She was shredded, and then she basically went this thing to get her hormones. She was in a real state with her issues of like consistently competing back after back competitions, and she went all in. So she just ate when she felt hungry until she got her hunger signals back. And she put on a ton of weight because she was in such a state that she needed to eat a lot of food. Yeah. And then she started talking about this sort of stuff and being more comfortable with the body. And now she's found a great happy medium, I think, with where her physique is lying. I mean, I was about to ask you what you think of this, but I'm assuming this is the first time you've seen this story.
This is news to me.
She did a great YouTube video on it, like series on it, which you should watch. But like, is the counter argument? I'll rephrase the question. Is there a counter argument here that we've spent so long promoting shredded people, especially for women who are maybe a bit more hormonally fragile, that even if this stuff is a little bit see-through and a little bit fake, there's a message to be had in this to stop people going into this constant year-round deficit cycles? Yeah,
of course there is. And I don't want
Not everyone has a fat picture to show.
Yeah, exactly. Without that,
all the education to explain.
There used to be a handful that I don't even see these people online anymore, which just shows where our attention has gone. That used to do these challenge type things. There was a guy, I forget his name. He ran a very successful boot camp company. He ended up working with some media company as well, where he would do these challenges of putting on X amount of weight, taking the photos, showing him completely out of shape, doing a really, really bad diet. And then the small, smart, controlled things he would do to then get back down to his normal shape. I want to say it was Sam something. For the life of me, I can't remember. Because we're going so far back now, and there's been so many people, since then that has taken everyone's attention. There was a guy who did the ice cream and alcohol for like 90 days or something like that, and showed his blood work, and still took protein shakes and things like that. But it was really educational. It was entertaining, controversial, but educational. That was the whole point. Yeah. At no point was he ever saying, this is how you can get shredded: ice cream, alcohol, just follow this diet. It's, let me prove to you what a calorie deficit actually is, or what macro counting actually is, through this controversial method that's going to get him a bit more attention. I don't hear from that guy anymore. Can't remember his name either. So there's not enough people showing these alternate journeys because everyone's too busy trying to maintain what they've got down to, because that's what, that's the popular thing to be now. That's the popular thing to be. If I had the time, the energy, and the discipline to do so, I would do something like that. 100%. I'd love to, but I'm not going to. So don't look to me to be the person that fixes that.
On that note, so I had an idea whilst we were talking about this, and this is based off the idea that you don't like liver. So I had a little bit of an idea of a challenge if you're up for it. And I don't know what we do. Maybe we try and predict the winner of the World Cup. Maybe this is how we do it.
Right. Okay.
So we've got a chance that no one could lose here. Maybe it's who gets further, and we'll do rock, paper, scissors if we both get to the semi-finals. If you lose, we find an episode where you can eat raw liver on the show, live on air.
I'm not taking that bet.
But if I lose, we have a nutritional thing that we maybe have discussed in the past that I maybe am against that you are happy to subject me to. And before you go, I'm not taking that bet because I hate liver. You know more about football than me.
Do I?
My knowledge of football, right, is World Cup '98 on the N64. And so I don't really know anyone since Mark Overmars retired.
I don't know.
I know Harry Kane.
I couldn't tell you anything about football since the Chelsea 2000-2001 season. Maybe 2006 at the latest. If I really
you got 3 years on me.
I'm actually Googling right now, which is just so stupid. What teams are in the World Cup? It's the World Cup. It's every fucking country, Rob. Come on, man. So I'm going to have to... we've got as much chance of each other on this one, I think.
Okay, cool.
Fine.
What's my punishment first? If I'm giving you liver, I might let you cook it. We'll see. See how nice I'm feeling.
God, liver in mayo. Fuck me. How bad would that be? I don't know. What don't you like? I can't remember.
Shall I give you some hints? What don't I like? I mean, there's one thing I really don't like, but I don't think people would tune in to watch me eat it in the same way that you do raw liver. I hate cucumber.
Really?
Hate it.
Really?
Really hate it. Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah, like it's water. You put it in a sandwich, it's even worse because it makes the bread soggy. Like, what the fuck is that?
Maybe that's what we... Go on.
I've got one.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't believe I'm saying this and I can't believe I'm actually considering it. Durian. Have you heard of durian?
I've heard of it, yeah. It's meant to be...
So durian is a fruit that is horrible and it stinks. So I may have to do the show somewhere else other than my flat. To the point where if you go into hotels in Thailand, they ban durian from entering hotels. So I could do that.
Could be the one. But then if we're going to go down the raw route, like you say you like liver, but would you like it raw?
I mean, we could both do raw liver.
Could do raw. Could both do raw.
I've got more chance. I've got more chance of liking it than you. But if I'm doing raw liver, then you also have to do raw liver. You're not getting cooked liver. You're not copping out this.
No.
All right, the raw liver challenge. Right. So we've got the raw liver as the challenge. Is the World Cup the thing we're betting on?
God. Okay.
Or have you got a better idea?
We'll have to Google some information about the World Cup. How long's it got left? A week? 2 months? I have no idea. It's not my area of expertise.
Be about 2-3 weeks, I think.
Yeah. So what are we betting? Who wins it, or which one of our teams gets further?
Which one gets to further? So we're betting who we think is going to win, because obviously that's the furthest you can get. But otherwise, to make it out that if neither of those teams win, we lose.
Okay.
Then, so do you want me to go first?
Go on.
What should I do? So, because I've got an interesting reason for my choice.
Right.
Hoping that this is 100% true, knowing that it's not. So recently there was a guy who released a video on TikTok claiming that he was a time traveler and has been to the future. Now, lots of people do this, right? But he has predicted quite a few things to be right. Including the coronavirus pandemic, some of the response to the lockdowns, and there was a few other like different things, like certain things that happened and various different things. So he's the most convincing time traveler claim person, and he says that Brazil are going to beat France in the final of the World Cup, and he showed a video of Brazilian fans celebrating in a stadium. So I'm going to say Brazil.
Okay. I'm gonna go with.
I can tell you I've heard looks good, if that helps you.
I'm just going through the list of teams that are currently in these groups, having no idea of any result, who's doing well, who's not doing well at the moment. I'm just gonna go with a safe option and say France.
And that would, if this time travel is true, right, that makes this final really interesting.
Really?
Because it'll be a Brazil-France final, as we predicted.
Oh, shit. No way. Okay, let's see. Let's see if we go all the way.
And hopefully it's England. As soon as one goes out, I am going to message you immediately. So last question before we close up here today. You've mentioned for a while, whatever comes next is going to be crazy. What's your prediction of what comes next?
What, in terms of who?
In terms of in the fitness industry, what's the next crazy thing?
It seems to be taking its time, but we've still got the metaverse to get involved yet. So digital liver kings abound will be the next thing. That could be the next thing. You want to do kettlebells in the garden, but you live in a high-rise flat. Doesn't matter. Put your goggles on. Suddenly you're primal. You're primal. Digital primal fitness. Maybe I'll coin that name.
Look down at your ab implants. Look down. Look to the left, and you see your wife, who clearly isn't invested in this thing at all.
Yeah.
I can't get over that video.
Yeah.
Liver King. Liver Queen. She just doesn't want to be there. Does not want to be there.
It's so bad. So I think we're still yet to see the full capabilities of what AI and the metaverse is going to bring to the fitness industry, because I think it is not going to revolutionise it, but it is going to tear it a new one. But I think there's a character around the corner. There's a character coming that has to be wilder and bigger and more outrageous, but maybe not necessarily as obviously juiced as someone like Liver King is. Someone where there's going to be maybe a bit of credibility to their claim, because they're not obviously hiding steroids or anything like that. That's what I reckon's coming.
My prediction is going to be someone equally as juiced. But I tend to find when pendulums swing, they swing the other way. Right? So when people are anti one thing, they're anti the other way. And I think despite there's a big push for this vegan movement, there hasn't been a big popular vegan person that's like taken the whole industry by storm. There's just a lot of people that think it's the way. I think there's going to be a jacked person eating like sticks of broccoli and things like this. And,
it probably is.
Probably a little bit like what's that girl, Australian girl that does all these protests where she gets her baps out on the street and like dresses up and like she's been slaughtered by and goes through the animals thing, like really bad vegan activist. Got her OnlyFans account because that's the only way to fund vegan activism. But like someone like that, but without the obnoxious protesting. Vegans tend to protest more. You don't get carnival protests.
It's true. Yeah. God, I don't know. Maybe,
so vegans are angrier.
Maybe is there raw liver activists stood outside abattoirs going, "Don't send that to the oven. Give me that now." I don't know. Maybe it's next.
Like people in Torture trying to like, don't cook it.
God. Oh my God.
But man, pleasure as ever, man. This is always interesting. And I think this is different. I think with everybody that has been slamming the guy, I think on the whole, we've done some fair negatives for this. But I think we've been very fair and actually been in defense, which is it's going to be the title of the show, In Defense of Liver King. Yeah.
I'm up for that.
And then we'll talk centralized finance, China protests, and maybe Liver King comes to the end not because of his steroid cycle, but because there'll only be a certain amount of red meat that we can eat before our cards get declined. Yeah, because that will fuck Liver King, won't it?
Wouldn't it just? That's why we have to go with digital liver. It's coming.
Digital, that is actually coming, isn't it? Fucking scary. So for people who want to find out more about your stuff, you've got your free month of December at the moment for coaching, right?
So you could go to my fat loss page, which is all going to change over the next couple of weeks anyway, because I'm moving into 2023 where I'm changing my coaching model anyway. So if you do want to get in now with a bit more of a one-to-one element, now's the flipping time. But I'm also doubling down the next few weeks on my email marketing strategist system, which is the new thing I've come up with, which doesn't make any sense. Doesn't mean anything really. It's just words. But if you want to increase the conversions from your email list into your paying clients, no matter what your industry, I'm going to be going a lot more harder on my cold outreach first, but then my social media will catch up,
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely worth it. And thanks again. I'll speak to you next week.
Yes, my man. Thank you.